Hello, my strangelings. We're continuing on with the Beckford family case. Uh, we left off where um, the dresser was levitating and the drawers were sliding open and it was freaking them out. So let's continue. As the Beckford sat frozen in terror, the drawers came to rest. Promptly a heavy chair laden with folded clothes lifted some 3 feet off the floor, tilted on its side, dumped the clothes, and then fell on top of the linen with a heavy thud. Next, one after the other, pictures lifted from their hooks, drifted away from the wall, and then floated in a circle around them. My God, Sharon cried out. What have we done to deserve this? With that, the headboards fell to the floor. The double bed with Pete and Sharon on top of it collapsed. The pictures then dropped to the floor, and all activity ceased. Later that night, after cleaning up the mess, the Beckfords tried to go to sleep. When the lights were turned off, however, they heard the noise, the sound, not noise, the sound of a kitten meowing in the spare bedroom. Minutes later, the sound transmuted into that of a crying baby. Pete wanted to check out the room, but common sense told him to stay away. The ever-present scratching sound changed into ripping and tearing noises. Again, the sound of planks being torn off the walls was heard. Indeed, it seemed as though the whole house was being dismantled. Poundings picked up on the roof and the outside of the house, which then transferred themselves to inside the walls. Over the course of an hour, the poundings made their way up to the hallway, then anomalously stopped. All of a sudden, sharp, jarring raps sounded on Pete and Sharon's headboard, as though the headboard was being hit with a hammer. Pete and Sharon jumped out of bed, but the noise continued. At one point, Pete counted 8 continuous bangs on the wooden headboard. As fear permitted, the activity grew even more powerful and intense. When furniture was heard to fall over in the living room, Pete was about to investigate when a blood-curdling scream came from Vicky's room. Something was here, the girl said in a breathless panic. Something was in this room with me. On April Fools, it rained rocks. The rocks descended right out of the blue sky, pelted the Beckford's roof, and rolled off onto the lawn. Terrified when one of the rocks crashed through the back window, Sharon Beckford telephoned her husband at work. Fatigued from the night before, Pete told her to call the police and said he would be home right away. By the time Pete Beckford got home, the police were on the scene. Also watching the spectacle of stones falling out of the sky onto the trim ranch house. The stones fell for about 1 hour in all, then stopped. Desperate, Pete asked the police what to do. Call a priest, they suggested. How could a priest help? Pete wondered. There was nothing religious about their predicament. Pete Beckford stayed home the rest of the day. That night, when the sun went down, furniture and objects in the house began levitating in the air in full view of everyone. Some of the items dropped to the floor, while others were slammed up against the walls. This terrible, insidious activity went on all night. The best the Beckfords could do was stay out of the way, because some of the objects seemed to be thrown directly at them. The next morning, with the house in shambles, Pete expectorated enough to take the policeman's suggestion. Being Roman Catholic, he telephoned the rectory of the local Catholic church and spoke with the priest who was on duty. Furniture in the house was levitating. Pete explained expensive objects were being thrown down and broken, pounding and scratching and other frightful noises went on all night. Stones had fallen on the house. The priest took the Beckford's address and promised to be there within an hour. The disturbance came to an abrupt halt when the priest arrived. But Pete escorted him around the house nonetheless, stepping over the breakage and overturned furniture. The priest's only assessment was that someone in the house was disturbed, and Pete had better call a psychiatrist. The clergyman then left, whereupon the pounding and the levitating started up anew. Tormented and confused, Pete went into work late that day. Fully exasperated, he decided to go ahead and confide in the one man he trusted and respected, his superior. In a glass-closed cubicle, Pete explained why there were so many absences on his previous excellent attendance record. For the better part of an hour, Pete disclosed the whole bizarre story to the man. The supervisor believed Pete and wanted to help, but he had no idea how he could be an assistance. He did, however, recall the name of some people whom he heard speaking on the radio. Their name is Warren, I believe. I remember them saying that sometimes only a blessed object placed in a home will stop weird ongoing. I don't know how to get a hold of these people, but I do think they're your best bet. The conversation did much to bolster Pete Beckford that evening when he went down to the basement, unpacked 18-inch plaster statues of St. Anne that Pete hoped would solve the problem. However, no sooner did Pete bring it upstairs than he heard a tremendous commotion downstairs. When he ran downstairs to investigate, he found the recreation room furniture floating through the air to the left. Soaps and detergents in the laundry room were also levitating, spilling their contents on the floor. The irrationally, the whole thing overwhelmed Pete. He trudged back upstairs to find the statue missing. Later, he found it in the bathroom beside the toilet. That night, along with the other intolerable phenomenon, shrieks and hellish noise filled the Beckford house. After a search the next day, the statue of St. Anne was discovered under the covers of the bed in the spare bedroom. Before uncovering the statue, however, Pete found obscenities written in pencil on Eric's bedroom door. The same foul-mounted filth one encounters in a public lavatory. Believing Eric might somehow be behind it all, Pete flew into a rage and laid into the teenage boy, but Eric just collapsed into despair and began crying from the bottom of his heart. The boy had done nothing wrong. He apologized to his son. Through perplexed, Pete Beckford was slowly becoming aware that for some unexplained reason, his whole family had fallen victim to the same thing, whatever it was. That is it for tonight, and then this weekend we'll continue on. So, see you guys in Friday's video.